Hi friends, my name is Akil Ahmed, and in this particular video tutorial we will see what is the schema binding view in SQL Server. So the agenda of today's video tutorial is that we will see what is schema binding view in SQL Server and how to create a schema binding view in SQL Server. So without wasting further time, let's jump to the demo. So I got the SQL Server instance here, and in the school database right now I have a table, car table. Okay, so the schema binding view actually prevents the schema changes to the source table on which the view is created. So for example, if you have a view that is created on some columns in the database on a particular table, okay, and now if it is a schema binding view, so now if you will try to, for example, remove any column from that particular table, or even if you will try to drop the table, then the SQL Server won't allow you to make those kind of changes. Like it won't allow you to drop any column, or it won't allow you to even drop the table itself, because there is a schema binding view on that particular table. So that's why it will prevent the changes to the SQL Server table schema. So that's the schema binding view. Suppose you have a view in SQL Server database and that view is used by an application, so you won't allow any table changes to that particular source table, because if, for example, if you will remove any column from the table, then the view will fail, right? Because there is a schema change, so the view will fail, and the application might have some issues, right? Because the application is fetching the data from the view. So to prevent any changes to the SQL Server table, we create the schema binding view. So if you have a schema binding view, then it won't allow any changes to the SQL Server table. So right now this is the car table in my database, and to create a normal view we write the query like create view vw underscore car as, and then for example let me select the data from the car table. So this is the query to create a view on the car table. So right now the view got created, vw underscore car. So I can write a query like select star from vw underscore car. So it will show you all the data, whatever data is available in the car table. Okay, now let me try to make a change to the car table. So let me add a new column, alter table car, add for example date created, and then date time, okay, the data type. So I added a new column in the source table. Okay, so now if you look at the source table, we have a new column. Okay, and now if I look at the view vw underscore car, so it doesn't contain that new column. Okay, so if you want to refresh the metadata of the view, so you can execute a store procedure exec sp underscore refresh view. Okay, and after that you can pass the name of the view. So my view name is vw underscore car. So I can execute this particular query. So the schema of the view can be updated. Okay, and then you should have the new column in the vw underscore car as well. So now if I execute both of them, so you can see that the date created is also added to the view as well. Okay, and now suppose if I try to drop this column like alter table car drop column date created. Okay, so if I drop the column, then I should be able to drop the column as well. So it created cr. So now let me try to drop the column from the car table. So I'm able to drop the column as well, although it is a part of the vw underscore car. Okay, so the column got dropped from the table, and now if I select the data from the view, so now it is saying view or function vw underscore car has more column names specified than the columns defined. So it is failing because we dropped a column from the table and that column was a part of the view earlier, right? So that's why it's failing. So now let's try to add the column to the car table. So we can add the column again. Okay, and now if you look at the car table, so we have the new column added again. Okay, and now let's try to create the schema binding view, so that in case if tomorrow you will try to delete any column from the table, then the column will not be deleted. Okay, so to create a schema binding view, we can write first of all we can drop the view if the view exists. So we can say drop view vw underscore car. So the existing view got dropped, and now to create the schema binding view we can write create view vw underscore car with schema binding. Okay, so this is how the schema binding view can be created. So you can execute this particular query. So it is saying that syntax star is not allowed in schema bound objects. So actually you need to select the column names instead of the select star. So I can actually copy the column names from here, okay, and paste it in place of the select star. Okay, and now I can just rerun this particular query. So now this is saying that cannot schema bind view vw underscore car because name car is invalid for schema binding. Names must be in two-part format, means there should be the schema name as well. So the default schema is the dbo, so we can write dbo dot dot car. Now we can execute this particular query and it should create a schema binding view. So now the query ran fine and it should have created a schema binding view. So now if you select the data from these two queries, so we have a column date created in the source table and we have the column in the view as well. So earlier we were able to drop the column from the table because the table was not linked with any schema binding view, it was linked with a normal view. So that's why we were able to drop the column. However, now if you will try to drop any column from the card table, then it won't allow you to drop any column. So let's try to drop a column date created. So it is saying that the object vw underscore car is dependent on the column date created because these columns they are used in the schema binding view. So that's why you cannot delete any of these columns, and even you cannot drop the table as well. So for example, if I will try to drop the table, drop table car, so it won't allow you to drop the table as well. It is saying that cannot drop table because it is being referenced by the object vw underscore car. So this is the schema binding view, so that in case if you want your table to be untouched, the columns to be untouched because they are part of a view, so you can create the view as a schema binding view. Yeah, so I think that's it for today's video, and if you got any question then you can comment on the video. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you like the video then please click the like button, do subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon and click on all so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much.